Star Wars Battlefront 2 2019 has had one of the biggest resurgences in video gaming history, and now the community are starting to wonder what is next for the Battlefront series. Will we get a new Battlefront game in the next few years, or will EA just keep Battlefront 2 running? DICE, the development team on the Battlefront series, have been very loyal to the community, producing worthy content and additions which are free, might I add. These additions keep everyone coming back to the game for more. Battlefront 2 has been going on for about 3 years or so now, and we don't see DICE slowing down anytime soon. But people are starting to speculate whether EA will want to keep Battlefront 2 running as a live service or wait for a sequel. It is certainly possible that a Battlefront 3 could right now be in the works. This could be either in its initial planning phase or in its initial development stages. Either way, I'm pretty sure that EA are at least considering a Battlefront 3. Now, there is a rumour going around that a new Star Wars game is in the works, and is set for either a late 2021 release or a 2022 release. Many big channels in the Star Wars community are speculating this to be Battlefront 3, and although that this is very likely, it could be a sequel to Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, or perhaps something in the same vein at least. I would personally be happy either way, but the vast majority of the community I feel are leaning towards a Battlefront 3. Now, Battlefront 2 has built up quite the community. It has survived more than 3 years on the market, and in 2019 was one of the most downloaded games digitally on the PlayStation Store. And that is insane considering Battlefront 2 came out in 2017. To be fair, Battlefront 2 has had major updates since its release. There are no more loot boxes or game-changing microtransactions. Battlefront 2 has literally done a full 180 in regards to community acceptance, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. We have seen such an influx of content in regards to Battlefront 2. We have seen new maps, heroes and villains, new class types, and new modes for both online and offline that I just can't see a Battlefront 3 happening next year. The thing I don't get is why would DICE put so much time into developing all of these new features and then just create something new without the older content? And since Battlefront 3 will be on the PS5 and Xbox Series X, DICE and EA would have to remake everything from the ground up. Many fans in the community just want Battlefront 2 to be the definitive Star Wars Battlefront experience. We don't want a new game to just strip away all of the old Battlefront 2 content. As fans of the game, we have most of the things we want in Battlefront 2 as of now, and DICE could just keep adding more and more DLC and features to the game. Imagine what Battlefront 2 would look like in 5 years' time with new characters and modes. They could even add in galactic conquest with ground-to-space combat. That is certainly the Battlefront game that I'd like to see. The one thing about Battlefront 2 that non-Battlefront 2 fans don't realise is that Battlefront 2 is massive collectively as a community. We are massive. To the naked eye, Battlefront 2 is still the controversy-ridden game it was at launch, but it's not. Battlefront 2 has truly redeemed itself in the eyes of its player base, and really is a solid Star Wars game, and rightfully so. DICE have been so loyal in trying to bring honour back to the Battlefront series by releasing all free content to everyone who plays the game. DICE really did put in the work to make Battlefront 2 the best that it could be, and they have certainly done that. With Battlefront 3, its campaign would need to be solid, engaging and replayable. Not saying that Battlefront 2's campaign was terrible, but it certainly wasn't the best it could have been. Battlefront 3's campaign would really need to be as replayable as rewatching one of the films. Perhaps we could explore an era that we haven't seen yet on the big screen, like the Old Republic or the High Republic eras. You know, something that's not running off nostalgia fuel to get it by. And although I love the characters of Star Wars, I don't want to be seeing Luke or Vader or Obi-Wan in the next Battlefront game. I mean, campaign-wise, of course. I'd just rather the game stand on its own 2 feet. Now, if Battlefront 3 were to release fairly soon, in let's say the next few years or so, then I would like to see a lot of the features from Battlefront 2 as well as Battlefront 1 put into the third entry to the Battlefront series. It would be rather annoying if most of the features from Battlefront 2 weren't in Battlefront 3, because most people would just stick to Battlefront 2 due to it being basically a complete package at this point. But if Battlefront 3 were to release, I'd like to see a 60% to 40% content ratio. That being 60% of Battlefront 2 content and 40% of brand new content, and then hopefully over time those percentages would swap over. If DICE were to do this, then it would give them some breathing room when it comes to creating new content. And along the lines of content, the Star Wars community and I would love to see some newer heroes make it into Battlefront 3. Perhaps characters like the Mandalorian, Mace Windu, Ahsoka, Qui-Gon Jinn, Asajj Ventress, and many, many more. The Star Wars lore is so expansive that DICE really has the opportunity to add characters that are not given the big spotlight in films. I think that this would be good and make a lot of sense for DICE to add into Battlefront 3, because people are already trying to make these characters with mods in Battlefront 2, so why not add these characters in for real? Battlefront 3 should have more maps, modes and more characters than ever before. The original Battlefront 2 had 24 different maps to play on. Not 24 maps including smaller and bigger variations of existing maps, but actually 24 separate locations. These implementations could really change the perception of the Battlefront series as a whole, and make Battlefront a household name, a game that everyone and their grandparents play. Now, the big question is when will we see Battlefront 3 for ourselves? And the answer is, we don't know. People are speculating we will see something in a year or two, but I doubt we'll actually be able to play it until 2022 or 2023 at latest. But who knows? DICE may just surprise us all very, very soon. And to be honest, for all we know, we could be playing Battlefront 2 for the next 5 years, so we're just gonna all have to keep our eyes open and hope for the best. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy, then subscribe and turn on that notification button so you don't miss another upload from me. So thank you and goodbye.